representative of the management committee, followed by the official opening of the conference and performances, marked by the striking of the gong, which is over here. And at that point, Her Excellency the Minister will be accompanied by Chairman of the Committee, Chairman of Jakarta Art Council, and the representative of MANCOM. Ladies and gentlemen, after the opening session, we will have keynote speech by Ms. Nawal Sadawi. And afterwards, all participants who are not involved in the press interviews will be asked to board the bus and will be transferred to the Jakarta City Hall for the dinner. Thank you very much.
It is certainly important too for us to take as much as possible from such a conference in order to advance our network and creativity, as well as to exchange experience and ideas. Personally, however, I will be very happy if in this 7th Women Playwrights International Conference, we also think about how we can improve the role and the standing of the Women Playwrights International by engaging ourselves to the problem and situation in the world, not only through works that we write and perform, but also by responding to all the impact and international, regional, and national politics that might damage our culture and civilization. It is more important to stop the war from happening in the first place, rather than to help the victim afterwards. All these are up to all of us. Let's exchange ideas, thoughts, and I hope you all will enjoy the conference until we're up and closing in Bali. Thank you.
The gathering of all of you from different countries, cities, and cultures reminds me of what Professor El Sadawi, our distinguished guest, once suggested in one of her many lectures, that we all live in one world, not three worlds. We share the excitement of the organizing committee in expecting to benefit from your lively speeches, workshops, and presentations. The theme of this conference cannot be more appropriate for one being held in Indonesia. As you will see and experience during your stay, including your few days in Bali, Indonesia is a country of diverse traditions and cultures. We have been experiencing both the blessings and tensions of the diversity. We have a long history of struggle to maintain and enlarge cultural liberty in every period of our history, including the very last and ongoing year vis-à-vis pressure from different sides. Jakarta Arts Council has always been involved in efforts to defend and enlarge the space for liberty of artistic and cultural expression. For us, living within this diversity we call Indonesia, it is obvious that cultural liberty is something that we cannot do without, because it is always within the nature of our nationhood. The consensus that we call Indonesia: censor the body and you censor breath and speech at the same time. Write yourself, your body must be heard. Only then will the immense resources of the unconscious spring forth. I would simply extend it by saying, write yourself, the world must hear you. Please enjoy the conference and being here. Thank you.
So
So I'm just here to remind you that I'm going to be speaking at you, asking you about your memberships. We need to get the IAC members, that is, memberships from each country, to form a small committee so that in 3 years we can have another committee. This conference needs to move on, needs to carry on. The strength that Ratna and the Indonesians have brought to this program needs to grow and develop, and we can only do that if we stay together as Women Playwrights International. I think I have forgotten probably many things, but let me say to the Indonesian people my deepest thanks and terima kasih.
We cannot deny that women in many parts of this world still experience discrimination, exploitation, violence, and also injustice, but we should be more aware that this is against their humanity. We must speed up the process to reach the final stage that the world acknowledges and responsibly accepts gender equity and equality. To reach this, distinguished delegates, your role and determination as women playwrights are fundamentally and uncompromisingly important. Let us together strive through the art of playwright to make my dream comes true. Herewith, I declare the 7th Women Playwrights International Conference 2006 is officially open. I wish all the best for the conference, and may God bless us all. Thank you.
Allow me to invite Chairman of the committee, Chairman of the Jakarta Art Council, and representative of MENCOM to accompany Her Excellency the Minister.
Thank you very much for this very warm welcome. And I'm sorry to speak in English, because I wanted either to speak your Indonesian language or my Arabic language. But that's how we have to change languages, how to speak up our own language, our cultures, our ideas, because we are dominated. We are dominated by certain languages, by certain ideas, globally and locally. This is the first time I come to Indonesia, and I am very, very happy to be here and to see that, you know, there is a lot of similarity between Egypt and Indonesia. Even the features, you know, some of the features look very much like Egypt. Also the political, the cultural, the economic, the problems facing creative women writers, etc. So we are all in the same boat. And that's why it's very important to see each other face by face. I came all this way from Egypt to see you and for you to see me, and to see that we are similar. In fact, though I believe very much in diversity, and that we are different, and we have different cultures and languages, etc., but at the end, we are human beings, we are similar, and we have to celebrate our similarities, because when we celebrate our similarities, we come nearer to each other. When we emphasize our differences, then we are separated. I came from a Muslim background, So we are brainwashed every day. We don't know really what's happening in Iraq or in Palestine. When I discuss with some people, they say, well, we believe the television. The Americans went to Iraq for democracy, so I laugh. Or to liberate women, I laugh, you know, or to get rid of Saddam Hussein, I laugh. They went there for the oil, so we have to understand. Also the killing in the Palestine, why people are killed in Palestine. It's economic reasons. It's not religion. But they, you know, all colonizers in all history, they use religion or culture or civilization to hide economic interest. They say clash of civilizations. No, it's not clash of civilizations. It's not. I lived in Europe. I lived in the United States. I can live here in Indonesia. People are the people. We understand each other. So it's not clash of cultures. It's not clash of civilizations. It's not clash of religions. It is clash of economic interest. They need the land. They need the land. They need the rivers. They need the oil. They need our resources. So we have to know that all this propaganda, all these words about clash of cultures, civilization, religions, is just a cover to the real reason.
Menjadi sangat sukses dan mudah-mudahan seterusnya ini menjadi acara yang membanggakan, tidak hanya dalam teknis pelaksanaan tetapi terutama di dalam substansi dan hasilnya yang bisa dibawa pulang oleh kami dan seluruh peserta to their own country.
His Excellency, the Ambassador of Friendly Countries, Director of Jakarta Art Council, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen. This evening, I feel very happy and proud to host dinner and cultural performances for the participants of the 7th Women Playwrights International Conference, who will convene from the 19th through 26th of November 2006 in Jakarta and Bali. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we learn from the fact that the development of script writing in our country still has to be promoted further. In terms of quality and quantity, we have to learn from our overseas friends and promotional activities. So far, is still limited to certain community. In reality, the artistic community is mainly dominated by male writers, and women playwrights are infrequently heard of.
It's a very interesting experience for me because I have never been in Indonesia, and I have never been in a WPIC conference. So now I feel I have two experiences in the same time.
I'm so inspired. It's hard for me not just to pack up and move. If I didn't have a 6-year-old to go home to, I'd be here forever. The people are so lovely. It's been so well organized. The presentations have been so meaningful. I feel really humbled to be a part of this. Extraordinary.
Sangat bagus. Menambah inspirasi terutama dari daerah ya. Itu dari daerah. Senang sekali bisa ikut karena konferensi seperti ini jarang banget. Iya, jarang banget.
Which took place in the 1890s, constituted a halfway stage between the modified form of pre-colonial theatre and fully developed urban theatre. These minds combined elements of colonial spectacle, particularly the military parade, with indigenous Ngoma dance forms. While their form did not develop a fully narrative form of spoken dialogue, their staging remained within the indigenous theatre and around aesthetic, rather than the proscenium art.
After the time out, the project called Sita Si Rama with a question mark. In Thai it's called Sita Si Rama. The meaning is being Sita is just to honor Ram. So that's the question. I have to thank you, my helper, who's gonna help me with all this technology, but his name is happened to be Rama. So thank you, Rama, for supporting me in this campaign.
Because as an Aboriginal Canadian, my own ancestral language is a language called Michif. And as far as my entire experience working with the Métis Federation in Canada, I've yet to meet a single Métis person who speaks Michif alone and who uses Michif for anything other than more or less academic purpose now. There's no children who speak my ancestral language. I was raised without any connection to that language. And it's completely lost. And it's a tragedy because with language, there is meaning that can't be expressed in another language. We've all been dealing with translation today. It's a struggle to translate the things that are in your heart as words.
They finally asked it in 2002. And we performed the show, and some people who saw it then asked us to perform it again in 2002 because it was felt that it was a show that talked about a particular issue that was going on in our history, which was that the government that was coming in to replace the 40-year-old Kanu repressive government wanted to forget or
Senopati is the center of the battle. And that is the time when Abimanyu has to die for the battle, because her son Parikasit will be the king after the Bharatayuddha. I hope it gives you a little bit of picturing about the dance. Thank you.
In 1934, the Czech anti-fascist writer and activist Egon Kisch jumped into Australian history from the deck of the P&O liner, the Stratford. He landed awkwardly, breaking his leg on Port Melbourne's dockside and confounding the government officers who'd come on board to tell him that he had been refused permission to disembark. Kisch's freedom was short-lived, about 5 minutes, before he was taken away by police to sit a dictation test. Under Section 3A of the then Immigration Act, an act framed soon after Federation in 1901 to enforce the infamous White Australia policy, an immigrant or visitor could be required to pass a dictation test in any European language. Yep, that's right.
Possibly we can show the whole film at one lunchtime, maybe, about after everyone's got their food, maybe people can come in, back in and watch the 1 hour, maybe, something like that. Today was hard, what do you think? I just have a very short paper, very, very short. But first I would actually like to thank Therese Colley, who's up the back there, who did the technical work this morning, but actually Therese is a co-creator of the song today.
Ông ấy còn ngồi đợi tôi ở phòng khách không?
Leo, is he waiting for me in the waiting room, in the living room?
Để coi. Tôi sẽ mong các bạn bây giờ sẽ đọc một bài thôi.
I hope that if you have time, you will read the text that I prepared.
Finding our voices, singing our common language to maternal
or meaning this, can I pump you, literally? Because the scene happens in a community where the water pump is, I don't know if you have it in your country. Bomba. We call it bomba. But bomba in Filipino means a bomb. And bomba could also mean the sex pigs in the movies. But when you say Miss Pabomba na, literally means Miss, can I pump you? But when you say that it has a whole world of nuances, and when you know about these codes, right away you know they're talking
out the box. And the hope through why that is that young people will see theatre as part of their lives, and so later on when they're adults, they'll go to these venues, you know, and see theatre. But I don't know, I mean, one of the reasons I made the film was that film on television reaches a much wider audience than plays, so I was very happy to be able to translate the stage play into a film, hopefully to really reach a wider audience, but I don't know whether it did or not. Thank you.
Their understanding and sympathy at that time to combine with. I wrote a masterpiece called Whole People, English title Writing Matters, a work by Dr. Odino around 100 years ago, called The River to a Son is the Work of a Woman. There has even been borrowing stories. A child is generated of the parents, and woman is on the place to break. Therefore, from a poor family, she could give a birth to a child without great pain. As soon as she gave birth to a child, she got a good care of her. At least they have been go through with it, and really happened in Japan some 100 years ago.
現在の日本は少子化と言われています。生まれる子どもの数が少ないのが悩みですが、そういう私も子どもを産んでいませんし、今20
Now I am 43, and starting from now, I really want to give birth, but I'm not married. And nobody is saying,
when I was first asked to come here and do this keynote address, I have to say I was intimidated. And today, sitting here among such august company, many of whom I think have much bigger claim to being activists and being experts on today's topic, I feel even more intimidated because I have to confess. It's unusual to see lawyers confess, by the way, so back this up. I have to confess, I'm what I would consider an accidental playwright. 20 years ago, I had the good fortune to write a piece that people wanted to produce, and during that time, there were not that many people writing in Singapore. So theater directors, they need plays, and they started coming after me, and the rest is history. Over time, I continued to write, but I've also continued to keep sort of my other lives, including a bit about the evil and rapacious bankers. And so I hesitate to speak too much about today's topic, which asks us to consider whether the state should choose to impose a homogenizing and unchanging national identity.
Terima kasih kepada semuanya panitia yang telah memperhatikan saya karena kenakalan saya. Pertanyaannya sederhana sebetulnya, mengapa negara, panggung dan identitas itu perlu dibicarakan? Saya sulit ketika diminta oleh Mbak Ratna dan kamu, Cok, itu temanya state dan identity. Saya pilih Bali aja deh. Kenapa? Indonesia baru berumur 50 tahun dan Bali sudah 1000 tahun untuk urusan kesenian. Jadi saya berpikirnya ya oke lah kita bawa ke Balinese Perkomunikasi.
Tapi kita ada seorang tamu khas akan bersama kita. I'm very sorry, ladies and gentlemen, but Ms. Jo will not be able to return. We don't know the reasons. Instead, we have been told there is a special guest in her place, and this is a very important person. I just would like to say something about Malaysia. I have been told to say something about Malaysia. I'm speaking English because I presume that many Indonesians know this. In Malaysia, we have of the population, 61% are Bumi Putra, who are sons or princes of the soil indigenous people, of whom about 55% are Muslim. We have about 24% who are Chinese, 7% around about who are Indian, 1% who are others, like Chinese or very, very basic. But this is the situation that we have in Malaysia. That is different.
Theater is a shadow of the theater, because that is how we like to operate. Everything is shadow, nothing is substance, everything is invisible, what is invisible is more visible. Very, very hard to find us. You see, that's why we're so powerful, because we don't
because that's their duty. We shouldn't beg them to pay for culture. It's their responsibility. They have to make sure that culture has to be built just like they build all this stupid building in this country. Thank you.
I came to this conference with a different paper prepared and felt that maybe rather than talking about a subject which was again quite different from other people on the panel, I was going to try to respond in some way. So Anne Lee, my friend from Malaysia, said, well, why don't you get Deputy Minister to come along instead? Because in a way this, for me, is my dilemma. Yes, we work in a country, so there are governments. We work in a state, there are governments. I have a difficult relationship because it's in the same body. So within my body, there is me who is asking certain questions, but I think in a way I'm asking questions also of myself.
569 juta perempuan tidak bisa baca atau tulis. 87 juta anak-anak perempuan tidak sekolah. Penderita HIV pada perempuan Afrika antara umur 15-19 di beberapa tempat adalah 5 atau 6 kali lebih tinggi dari laki-laki. 1 dari 3 perempuan di dunia ini adalah korban dari pemerkosaan, disiksa atau di-attack.
Industry is worth $5 to $7 billion a year. 80% of victims trafficked across international borders are women, 70% of whom are trafficked for sexual exploitation. Globalization has been defined as, quote, the process in which economic, financial, technical, and cultural transactions between different countries and communities around the world are increasingly interconnected, end quote. As a group of international women theatre practitioners, we represent one strata of these cultural transactions. We are linked to high culture, if you like, to international festivals of contemporary art. But there is another strata at the opposite end of the spectrum, the entertainment underworld, where trafficked women are performing as dancers and strippers and having sex with their audiences. Our workplaces are often contiguous. In many large cities, the theatre district and the red light district are less than a mile apart. Both are sites.
As some of the biggest features of contemporary Japanese small theatre, which imagine flinch type. Let's pick up the two things. Firstly, many members and huge varieties of theatres have been performed daily. Secondly, this is a single season. You don't need a study qualified career to work on the theatre. Therefore, it is fairly true that we are in a situation where new types of writing, actors, and directors easily come on. There is a wide range of styles of theatre as well, something like new pieces inspired by classical plays, well-made comedies, socialized plays, or plays like non-tension based on strong young people's way of
After in the breakfast, some women say to me, I must live or read my paper in Indonesian. Saya bilang, I must read the paper of Indonesian.
Sebabnya saya memilih bekerja dengan organisasi atau NGO. Mula-mulanya saya mencari NGO di Aceh yang cocok dengan ide-ide dan visi ke depan. Dan saya tentu memilih perempuan. Nah kemudian saya menemukan seorang perempuan dan melalui perempuan itu yang kebetulan mempunyai jaringan dengan masyarakat
over the world who are doing all different kinds of theater, and sharing with them is so rare. And seeing especially women who have been greatly persecuted, who have incredible courage to continue to do theater under very difficult circumstances.
I think that the work of the Indonesian playwrights and the Indonesian actors is fantastically rich and dealing with very immediate problems. And I think they're very, very brave people to be giving a voice to the situation of women here and globally.
The benefit for me is being able to read scripts from this part of the world and hopefully take them back and perform them. And also to hear, just when you hear other people's stories, you know that your struggles are not so big.
The children feel the children are always this is why I like to use this character of Gladys, kind of full of joy.
Just that you wanted to try to get work in India, and now we get it. What do you want to do? Just walk away?
Because I was surprised. I went back to the States 6 months after that for holidays, and I just found it very strange. I found
Right, thought dolphins, gamblers, hookers, murderers. I read in the paper there was 2 killings on Perdido Street alone this past weekend. I wonder.
He swore they were, so I'm taking him at his word.
Disgusting. Is Father Brown, who was incense bottles, missing?
That is too personal a question to ask a priest, Martha.
This is sacrilege, you know.
The funeral prayer means that them permission for their parent or their husband to join theater. When the permission is given.
Hajara agreed because of her loneliness, but tells them that she will...
You feel better? You'll be a goddess then. Folks will worship you. Hundreds of others in other cultures and, other societies. We have...
I came up with an unexpected one, in which there's had been promised to her by her sister to be used for...
There is no relation with the situation in Jakarta, for example.
No.
This is like, this is the woman president.
Like, let's hear from the woman.
Yeah.
I want to know what the woman thinks.
Table, my action would make coffee, nervously hands the coffee to neighborhood gets too noisy at this time. The radio at full blast.
I told you to leave that bloody toad outside. I'm not letting it out of my sight. You just got it back. Thanks to Charlie.
Charlie, our regular Harry Butler.
She knows a lot about her past.
A year. And I'm going to start by just giving you the background information, kind of a synopsis of the storyline.
It actually becomes, it's always shocking. And I think it's interesting
great upheaval across rural Australia, and while it's beyond the reaches of today, it might be considered to dance. But he's saying, what sort of place do I learn to dance? If we get to like what? I told you. Like something hit me, that's what. Like that? Nothing like that. Like that. And you couldn't hit hard enough.
Cái mục đích chung của cái tổ chức này cái hội
thì cũng chỉ tại vì tôi đã dự cái lần thứ 3, bây giờ là lần thứ 7, thì tôi thấy là cả bản thân tôi đó là từ lần thứ 3 đó đến lần thứ này á, tôi nó giúp cho tôi nhiều lắm. Tôi nghĩ là đâu đó trên trái đất này cũng có những cái người gặp những cái khó khăn.
I've attended the third forum, and now this is the seventh forum of this international female playwright. And the more I attended, the more I realized that I'm fortunate that I'm not the only one who find myself in difficult circumstances. So it's a great thing to do.
I think the main subject of this conference is culture, diversity, and how we can keep our identity through lots of cultures around each other.
The objective of this conference for me, I think to help empower women globally, to give them tools, to help us support each other, to help make the world more aware of the discrimination against female artists.
I thought I could bring two of my short films, the one that I produced and supervised in the script, in the screenplay, but I didn't bring it now because I just knew just now. Anyway, for this session, I would like to just give a little bit of an overview about the Indonesian film situation currently, what happened in the Indonesian film industry.
This is also the same like the goyang patah-patah, goyang inul.
East Java, Sumatra, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
And how does that group affect the greater society? There in Luxnelly, wherever I am, and she deals with being grows up. And then in the end, I write a letter to my sister, inviting her to come to the garden.
Boy.
Now do it again without noise at all. No noise. Not even a small noise. We can hear. Don't usually people.
Thank you.
Like the wheel gets stuck and we need to push the writing in a new direction. So you bring something
new exercise.
kreatif lagi, untuk lebih mencari lagi dan lebih jeli terhadap permasalahan-permasalahan perempuan, terutama sosial, seperti yang pertunjukan yang saya angkat kemarin, salah satunya.
The objective of this conference is to bring women playwrights together and to encourage them to keep writing, to bring them to a realization, if they haven't already made that realization, that their stories are important.
Sometimes I find it a little bit too much for the people agreeing all the time with each other, like saying bad things shouldn't happen, and then everybody starts to clap. And well, I think it's too simple. I think the problems sometimes are more complex than we're now talking than the way we're now talking about them.
I love it, especially these traditional cultural evenings where we get to eat food from different parts of Indonesia, and everything is in Indonesian, so it's just a mystery. You just put something in your mouth and it explodes with but the conference itself, of course, is what we're here for, and that's been really good as well. It's been really wonderful to meet people and to talk about our work.
For me, the objective of this conference is really I think to strengthen a movement, globally, of women who are telling their stories and other women's stories through theater, and to see that because we have many stories with different voices, the forms are also very wide-ranging, from traditional to experimental.
Thank you.
I think to bring people together from all around the world, playwrights all together from around the world, so that we can both politically unite and to also creatively unite, so that we, as creative people, we can see where our work intersects and also see the differences in what we're doing creatively.
Jangan biarkan baginda kami terluka. Jangan biarkan payudara kami tergores. Bumi ini lestari dengan anak-anak yang kami lahirkan kelak. Oh, sempurnakanlah namaku dalam keabadian.
Margaret, Catherine, dream of me. Dream of your mother. I am in a new place. It is hard to describe. It is incredibly beautiful. Where you are now has been created by all things being pulled apart into opposites, up, down, good, evil, past, future. And what you call paradise or heaven is where all of that is put back together. Everything here sustains everything else without trial. In your dream, you see a baby room being prepared and people moving around a pregnant woman. But suddenly it is gone. You are in the dark. You are now the baby, and you think all things are empty light.
Kalian tidak perlu berterima kasih padaku. Kalian memang pantas mendapatkannya. Lebih-lebih kalian adalah pelayanku yang paling setia. Iya, dan selantasnya kalian mendapatkan sesuatu yang berharga dari majikannya. Terima kasih Nyonya. Begitu besar perhatian Nyonya pada kami. Begitu tulus, begitu ikhlas, begitu. Adalah suatu kesenangan dan tabiatku untuk membuat orang lain berbahagia. Kapan lagi kita menyenangkan orang-orang di sekitar kita? Kalau bukan sekarang ini.
Yang kayak kemarin itu ya, kan suaminya orang nggak punya. Kita waktu ada
Itu loh. Ada rombongan teater perempuan yang dari Surabaya mau mengikuti konferensi nasional teater perempuan ke Jakarta.
Itu naik apa keretanya ekonomi lagi, terus tidur di bawah nggak apa-apa gitu. Suaminya orang nggak punya mau pakai pesawat.
Kalau aku punya suami kaya raya, bisa pakai pesawat?
Oh iya, kemana aja pakai pesawat. Mau ke pasar belanja pakai pesawat.
Kamu mau main ke tetanggamu nanti bisa naik pesawat.
Nah, iya betul.
Naik pesawat apa dia? Pesawat.
Hi, I'm Lisa Baker, and this is a dramatic reading of Home Again. We're going to read from the end of Act 1 into Act 2. The reading will take about an hour. You need to know a few things before we begin. Act 1 is about what happens to the interactions of a family, mother, father, and young child, when those interactions are influenced and infected by a TV. The mood-disordered TV in Act 1 speaks the language of commercials and narrates a stage of the Tour de France that Lance Armstrong, who's become a cultural hero in the United States, wins. Mother and father come to believe that they have lost their virility of political engagement because they have had a child. There's a war on. In a full production of this, there would be mounted televisions on stage, streaming images on and off throughout the play. Up center, that platform, is the on-stage TV screen. And also, we have an all-women cast, but the male characters in a full production would actually be played by men. And then, of course, I'm indebted to my participant actors who were recruited absolutely at the last minute and who are sick and hobbling, still here doing this.
Di na niya alam kung matatawa o maiiyak o magagalit. Ang walang di-abag bilang pinagkakaisahan ng buong mundo, yaong naniniwala sa Islam. Tinatawag ng kung ano-ano ngalan, terorista, satanista, mga walang kwenta, biktima ng maling paniniwala. Kahit saan lumingon, kahit anong pakinggan, sa langit man o sa lupa, sila na lang ang salot, kasalut-salutan.
Kenapa? Bukankah seseorang yang akan dijatuhi hukuman mati boleh melakukan apa saja sebelum ajalnya tiba? Bagaimana pendapatnya? Kalau permintaan terakhirku nanti adalah PT.Yoriz presiden. Bawa ke ruang isolasi. Aku lebih suka meminta presiden untuk meniduri kuburnya ketimbang memintanya memberiku pengampunan. Pengampunan hanya akan memperpanjang kesialanku, petugas. Tidak ada satu orang pun di muka bumi ini ingin jadi pelacur dunia. Tidak ada satu orang pun, tugas. Siapa yang menginginkan aku menjadi pelacur? Siapa yang menginginkan aku menjadi pelacur?
Thank you.